Hello everyone, my name is Mustafa Mohsen, as you may or may not know, and thank you for clicking on this video, King, Queen, Monarch. Everyone is welcome here. I have been going through it, I'm just going to be honest, and today's video or podcast episode is not going to be a long one, I think. I'm not sure yet. I think it's mostly to do with the fact that, I don't know, I just haven't really been able to think about many other things than I suppose studying and kind of trying to deal with the present and the past and the future without trying to ruin the possibilities of the future having a better outcome than the present has currently by doing dumb things that I could prevent. So that's something that I'm currently doing. I am focusing and prioritizing many of my own things and trying to make sure that I take control of my own life and not decide that somebody else comes in my life and decides to, play around with my neurological connections and rewire me and change me for the worse, to be completely honest. I have been going through it, honestly. There's nothing external specifically happening again. I think it's just a thing that I go through. It's a just me thing. It's just how I am, how I deal with life, and how I, just who I am as a person. But just some things are just better left untouched than trying to force to touch it. I think I found myself in many different situations where I had tried to deepen a connection with something, tried to deepen a connection with someone, where it would only led to thus connection getting worse, and not only getting worse, but just not feeling authentic at all. It felt as if I was forcing something upon myself and forcing something upon others that wasn't ideally to be realized even. It was such a difficult thing that once I finally had decided to take matters into my own hand and decide that from now on I will be the one that will, rewire my own neurological connections and decide whether or not you will be able to stay in my life and whether or not you will be able to even come close to having a even possible connection with me. I will take that into my own hands. I think that it's something so deeply miswired in my brain, which I'm not going to let be defined by external factors, letting thus wire get unwired again, or just refixed, or whatever you want to whatever you want to call it. I'm just not going to let that happen. Definitely, if I have always felt as if my whole entire life I've spent way more of my life being a puppet, in a way that parts of my brain, parts of my body, and parts of who I am, and I like to kind of those dolls that you just kind of hold with those X platform thingies, where you kind of move them and you kind of tilt them in ways for them to kind of actualize certain behaviors and certain actions and certain you know what I mean, just certain actions that you want them to do. And that's just how I kind of felt. I felt as if these parts of my brain, these parts of my own body were not mine. And I have my own reasons for that. And I do have, and I am able, and I am allowed to feel this way. But I'm just not going to let many of these different things that just happened continue on to happen. Instead of that, I want to focus on getting them, preventing thus things from happening. Even if sometimes it feels as if I am still unable to kind of rewire my brain on my own. At the end of the day, there are so many different things that I can't change anything about in this present day. The only thing that I can do is kind of have a standstill moment where I'm not going to let anything progress, even get worse than what it is. I'm going to not force things to progress. I'm going to allow them to stay the way they are, instead of forcing them to go in such highs and in such lows that my kind of redefine the whole progress that I had in mind. I'm not going to let these things just change. I have decided for myself that these are things that I will try and take, not try, I will take these things into control. This is my life. I have found myself in so many different situations where I didn't even come close to realizing that this is my life. I've questioned so many things about my own life. I questioned so many things about other people's lives. I questioned so many things about my existence in other people's life, and whether or not it should be that I am there just to kind of provide a happy feeling or a fulfilled feeling to others. It's something that I just still to this day struggle with, and I don't know, and I don't want to know whether or not it will be like that in the future. I know for a fact that my presence will be something that people will enjoy of. It will be something that people will have to enjoy in a way that I'm not going to be settling around the bare minimum just for me to kind of be uphold and kind of still have people, I don't know, just kind of lead me on in a way that they could, have make me into this puppet again, just for me to kind of have to rewire these own aspects of my brain again. I'm not going to be doing that. I'm so done with that. I'm so done with that. I'm done playing these different roles just to fulfill other people's needs. I'm done presenting myself in ways just so I could appeal to someone in ways that I could have just let them appeal to me, or like I could appeal to someone without having to force that upon someone. I'm not going to do that. I'm just so done with everything that I kept on doing for these past years, and it's not about necessarily bad things towards other people. It's mostly bad things towards myself, in a way that I let myself get used in so many ways. I let myself get betrayed in many ways. I betrayed myself. I betrayed myself in so many different situations where I thought I should not have even been in this situation. I should have changed something about the situation. The situation is not okay, but yet I had to find the good in the situation. And well, no, I'm not going to be continuing on to do that. The only thing that I will find good from now on in situations is where it's actually visible, where it's actually sensible, where it's actually felt, instead of having to force that feeling towards myself and having to tell myself, well, yeah, no, they are, like, that feeling is there. Like, no, I'm not going to be doing that. I'm done with that. I'm just packing my bags out of that kind of setting that I was in, mentally, physically, whatever you even want to call, spatially, universally, whatever you want, generally, just even. But I'm so done with that. There are things that I have to change, and whether that be my surrounding, whether that be my mindset about certain things, but just know that many of these aspects of my life will change. And I'm so done with worrying about all of these different types of things that I should not even have to worry about. Mind you, I should not have to worry about how I get... no, that's it. I don't want to go too much into further detail about that. That's just it. I'm going to be living my own life for so many different things. I will be letting it happen for myself. There are certain things that I can't change about reality, that I can't change about the past, but I possibly can work towards a better future. I'm not going to be forcing myself to change things now. Things are changing, and I am putting the effort to change things, but simply having the force of me having to change something is implying that I'm not working towards it. I am working towards it, and I am doing it. So there's nothing that has to change. The only thing that has to change is my mindset towards the change, and it's simply letting things progress, evolve, and just letting them have their own way. I'm done with forcing things upon myself. I'm done with trying to change other people's minds about me. I'm not doing that. The only person that will change their own mind about me is me, myself, and I. And that is something that I will be doing. That is not for someone else to decide. Whether that be a observational thing, whether that be just a mere observation or a mere opinion about something, I don't care. I don't care. I'm not going to be worrying about those things. I'm not going to force so many different things from changing just because they don't apply to someone else, or I'm not going to necessarily organize myself into a box that I never really fit in. I'm not going to do that. Definitely not for me to just be put back into an undefinable imaginary object for me just to be hid away in a way, or for me to just come out whenever whenever another person wants me to come out. I'm not doing that, you know? Or when I'm not talking about a literal come out. I'm talking about whether or not just wants me to come out of that imaginary box so they could do something, or so they could ask me for something. I'm not doing that. The only thing that I'll be worrying about is myself, and not the way that I get perceived by others, not the way that I could possibly appeal to others, and definitely not the validation that others could give me by simply just existing, or by me kind of creating a vision of them. I think it's a mere illusion of me wanting something that I never really got, or me wanting something that I never really achieved in myself. And when seeing somebody or something that could possibly change that thing about myself and possibly contribute to me actually getting a better future, I think it always kind of reflects onto myself, and it kind of gives me that, or always wants me, no, in a way it wants me to it kind of tends to give me this need to kind of get the validation off of it, just to kind of justify that whatever I am working towards is an actual good job, or like an actual good future. And just sometimes a lot of those aspects, I literally zoned out so hard. I'm so sorry, but whoa, that was so different. Like these past 2 minutes, it was so completely different, but whatever. I'm not going to be talking too much. I just kind of wanted to get this out there. I am not working towards any validation of external things. I will be getting those validations from those same things by just simply being myself and simply getting those things on myself, not by having to achieve something for that achievement to define me. No, I'm achieving that thing just because I said that I'm going to achieve it, not because I achieved that thing that randomly is who I am. No. I've already been that person before I got that thing, and before I achieved that thing, and even after that, achieving that thing. It's not going to change anything about what I am working towards, nor is it going to change the way that I want to be viewed. I'm going to stay the same person whether or not I reach it, but I know for a fact that I will reach it. The only thing that I have to worry about is not having any bad, falling behind on things. I'm not doing that. Definitely in things that I can change. Meaning I'm not going to be seeking any things that could possibly harm me, knowing that on forehand it's going to harm me. No. If I know these things are going to change, then I will just let them change. I'm just going to let them change. If there are things that I notice myself getting distant from, then whatever that may be. But I'm not going to worry about things that I can't possibly do anything about. And the only thing that I need to worry about is me, my friends, and my family. Whether that be no one, whether that be a one person at a certain point, whether that be all of them at a certain point, just know for a fact that so many different things that could appear to be this important to you at this moment might not be so important when you look back at them in 10 to 20 years. That's it. I just kind of had a full change. I mean, it's not a change. I've always had this mindset. It just always so many different types of just kind of annoying parts in this road that I'm trying to fully finish off, this road that I'm trying to take. And then I'm always kind of sometimes when taking a road to whatever you want to achieve, it's okay to kind of have these bumps along the way. But when you notice yourself kind of literally taking D routes and having to literally go off of more bridges that you are supposed to do, literally noticing yourself having to do way more kilometers that you intended, having to do way more obstacles that you had intended, and you knew that for a fact you could have changed and not taken those paths, and not taken those bridges, whatever, that you should not even have crossed to begin with, but you decided to cross along the way because why not? No. If you know for a fact that you could have also just prevented from crossing that bridge to begin with, that's it. I'm not gonna do that, I've noticed myself that those decisions that I had made that were most of the time really impulsively never contributed in a good way to my life. And safe to say, they won't. And I'm not going to let them contribute in a bad way to my life, because I'm not going to let it define me, nor am I going to let that change about myself, nor am I going to let anything possibly changing any further than it needs to change. I know for a fact that there are some things that I'm working towards, and that's not necessarily changing any behaviors that I'm talking about. I think I've done enough changing, and I will continue to be doing working on myself. But no, trust me, I'm grown. I really am. I've been through a lot. I've seen a lot. I continue to go through a lot, but I'm not going to let that define me, nor am I going to let that change my mind and change my view on the goal that I have in mind. And if that means that I just have to kind of focus on having to kind of put away so many aspects of my life that could contribute to happiness, but also lead to insane instability, emotional instability, whether that be emotional, mental, whatever. But no, I'm just not going to be doing that. I'm not going to be doing that. So, this is probably a shorter video, or podcast episode. I had normally always in mind to kind of do a 20 to 30 minute video, but for sometimes, like I said, I'm not going to force a conversation to go further than it has to go, because at the end of the day, when you kind of get the word out there, it's better to kind of keep it short, keep it straightforward, and not take any bridges. I think we learned that lesson here today. Just don't take any extra routes than routes that need to be taken. I'm not going to beat around the bush, like they say. I'm not going to do that. So with that being said, I hope you guys noticed. I don't know, I'm not even talking to anyone, to be completely honest. Of course, I hope you guys see what we're talking about here, but at the end of the day, this is a video for myself as well, and for my past self and my future self to look back to and realize that, from now on, and from everything that you've been through, you don't deserve to be experiencing any more than you've already been through. Things might go wrong, things might get better, like things will get better. It's just simply a way of letting things progress in the way that they have to progress, and letting things happen the way that they are currently happening, and just hoping for things to not get worse in the progress. Everything everywhere all at once, Mustafa out.